There's an animal in Africa that has been documented getting stung by hundreds of bees, passing out from the venom, waking up 20 minutes later and immediately going back to eat the honey. There's an animal that has been filmed getting bitten by a puff adder, one of the most venomous snakes on the continent, collapsing completely, lying motionless for what looks like death, and then standing back up and finishing its meal. There is an animal that has been observed chasing lions away from kills. Not running from lions, chasing them. That animal weighs about 12 pounds. Its name is the honey badger, and it is the most aggressively absurd creature that natural selection has ever produced. Not the most dangerous, not the largest, not the fastest, just the most completely, fundamentally, philosophically unwilling to accept that anything in the world can stop it. This is its story, and I promise you, nothing about it will make sense. Let's start with the physical reality of a honey badger, because the design is insane. The skin. The honey badger's skin is roughly 2 to 3 millimeters thick, which sounds unremarkable until you understand what that means in practice. It is so thick and so loose on the body that predators physically cannot get a grip on it. A leopard can bite down on a honey badger's neck and the skin just rotates around the animal underneath. The honey badger turns inside the skin, bites back, and the leopard has a problem it did not expect. The looseness is the key detail. The skin doesn't just resist penetration, it moves. Scientists describe it as like biting into a thick rubber bag filled with something that wants to hurt you. When a snake strikes, when a predator bites, when a bee stings, the honey badger's skin absorbs, deflects, and rotates around whatever is attacking it, leaving the animal underneath largely unharmed and extremely angry. And then there's the smell. Honey badgers have scent glands that produce a suffocating, musky odor, similar to a skunk but reportedly worse. They can deploy this defensively to disorient attackers. In one documented case, a honey badger used its scent glands inside a beehive and was recorded calmly eating honey while thousands of bees attempted and failed to drive it out. The claws are built for digging through solid packed earth in seconds. The jaw can crack tortoise shells. The teeth are strong enough to chew through thick animal hide. Everything about this animal is overbuilt for its size, as if evolution sat down and decided to build the toughest possible thing and then made it small on purpose just to see what would happen. Here is where honey badgers stop being impressive and start being genuinely unsettling. Honey badgers are not immune to venom. Let's be clear about that. When a puff adder bites a honey badger, the venom enters the bloodstream, causes tissue damage, and renders the animal completely unconscious. It collapses, it stops moving. To any observer, it appears dead, and then it wakes up. Scientists believe honey badgers have developed a partial resistance to certain venoms through repeated exposure across generations, similar to how some humans develop resistances to certain toxins. But partial resistance is not immunity. The venom still works. The honey badger just treats losing consciousness as an inconvenience rather than a conclusion. Documented cases show honey badgers being bitten by cobras, puff adders, and other highly venomous snakes, passing out for periods ranging from several minutes to over 2 hours, and then waking up and in multiple filmed instances returning to eat the snake that bit them. Think about the psychology of that for a moment. You get bitten, you lose consciousness, you wake up, and your first thought is, where's my food? Not, what just happened to me? Not, I should be more careful. Where is my food? The honey badger does not process near death as a warning, it processes it as a temporary pause. In 2009, a honey badger in a wildlife sanctuary in Sharjah became briefly famous for something that wildlife experts still talk about. It was put in an enclosure specifically designed to contain it. It escaped. It was recaptured and the enclosure was reinforced. It escaped again. This happened repeatedly, and each time researchers documented what it did, the behavior followed the same pattern. It would assess the enclosure methodically, use whatever materials it could find, rocks, branches, even a rake that had been accidentally left in the enclosure, to climb to areas it shouldn't be able to reach. It learned to unlock latches. When the latches were replaced, it simply dug under the wall. Wildlife handlers named it Stoffel. Stoffel became something of a legend because the behavior it displayed was not just physical persistence, it was problem solving, systematic, patient, deliberate problem solving from an animal that also once bit a fully grown male lion on a part of the anatomy that I will let you imagine, and held on until the lion retreated. That combination, intelligence and absolute fearlessness, is what makes honey badgers different from just being tough. Lots of animals are tough. Honey badgers are tough and they know what they want and they have thought about how to get it, and nothing that exists is going to stop them. Let's talk about the bees because it deserves its own section. Honey badgers eat honey, not occasionally, obsessively. They will travel miles tracking honey guide birds, a species of bird that actually leads honey badgers to hives in what researchers describe as a genuine mutualistic relationship relationship where the bird gets the leftover wax and larvae after the honey badger destroys the hive. To get to the honey badger climbs trees, breaks open hives with its claws, and sits inside a cloud of thousands of aggressively stinging bees for however long it takes to eat everything worth eating. It gets stung hundreds of times. Around the face, the eyes, the ears, the areas where the thick skin provides less protection. It does not stop. Researchers have filmed honey badgers being stung continuously for over an hour without retreating. The bees sting, the honey badger eats. That's the entire relationship. The bees, one of the most effective defensive systems in the natural world, a system that has killed adult humans, elephants, and horses, is just weather to the honey badger, an inconvenience, background noise while it eats their home. Now let's talk about what happens when something tries to eat a honey badger. Lions, leopards, hyenas, crocodiles, all of them have been documented attempting to prey on honey badgers. All of them have been documented giving up. The pattern is consistent. Predator identifies honey badger, predator attacks, honey badger does not run, honey badger attacks back, predator escalates, honey badger escalates more. Eventually, and this part is documented in multiple independent studies, the predator leaves. Not because it can't physically overpower the honey badger. It absolutely can. It leaves because the honey badger makes the cost of winning too high. A lion that catches a honey badger doesn't get an easy meal. It gets an animal that will bite, claw, spray, and vocalize aggressively for as long as it takes, potentially injuring the lion in the process. From the lion's perspective, there is easier food available. The honey badger is simply not worth it. This is a survival strategy built entirely around making yourself so unpleasant to deal with that nothing wants to deal with you. And it works against lions, against leopards, against animals 20 times its size. The honey badger has essentially hacked predator psychology by being the worst possible experience a predator can have for the return it gets. So here is what honey badgers actually are. They have skin that rotates around their body so predators can't grip them. They get bitten by venomous snakes, pass out, wake up, and eat the snake. They solve puzzles, use tools, and escape from enclosures specifically designed to hold them. They sit inside beehives for hours getting stung hundreds of times because they want the honey. They chase lions away. They have been described by the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's most fearless animal, which is an extraordinary thing to be formally given a record for. But here's the thing about honey badgers that I keep coming back to. They are not fearless because they don't understand danger. They understand it perfectly. They just don't care. And there's something almost philosophical about that. An animal that has looked at a world full of venomous snakes and lions and thousands of bees and decided that none of it is sufficient reason to stop doing exactly what it wants to do. Maybe the honey badger isn't insane. Maybe it just figured something out that the rest of us haven't.